Rafiwa, thanks indeed for coming in. So, look, I think we've got to start with Edcon. I mean, amazing. It said it would gear up this capital to sort out its mess, and it certainly did so.
It did, Devon. So since 2014, the company has been riddled in high amounts of debt, constrained consumer spending, as well as increased competition from your likes of Zara and H&M, your international players that have come in. And it's really struggled to stay above water. But the chief executive, when initial reports of a 14,000 job losses on the way because the company simply just didn't have money, he indicated that he is working very hard with his team to secure funding. So they needed about 3 billion rand to sustain themselves for the coming 3 years. And he was able to get 2.7 billion rand. Some of the lenders were able to put in that funding, as well as the PIC using the government pension fund. So the interesting thing here with Edcon is that this is a lifeline for the 3 years. Yeah. What's important to watch is how it will restructure the business, as well as how it's going to pay off the enormous debt that it has, so that the 14,000 employees that now are breathing a sigh of relief continue to keep their jobs after the 3-year period has passed.
Mobile giant MTN, they've got results coming out next week, and they're telling us that we could see a 90% jump in profits. That's not very easy on the eye to believe if you think about what's happening in Nigeria.
Absolutely, Devon. So that 90% jump in profits, I think, really surprised the market. They are indicating that they've reported solid subscriber growth, and they've been getting that revenue in from the likes of Ghana and Nigeria. So Ghana's results in MTN came out today, and they reported I think, 34% increase in revenue and really solid subscriber growth. In South Africa, they're also seeing a little bit more of an upbeat market. But there is that thorn in MTN's side, that $53 million that they have to pay to Nigerian authorities, as well as other legal issues when it comes to paying tax in the country. So the market did not like this announcement, even though it was amazing. The company's share price closing about 5.4% weaker at markets close. And I mean, analysts are saying that it's really a tough environment for mobile telecoms operators right now. We saw in India, one of the big ones filing for bankruptcy because of the high amounts of debt. We're seeing what's happening with Cell C and really pulling blue label telecoms down. So MTN is going to be an interesting one to see, given what they're telling us, and this also combined with what's happening in Uganda with their understating reports of revenue there, as well as that tension with Nigeria that continues to increase. And it's unfortunate because Nigeria makes up 1/3 of their profits.
Interesting to see those results. The other interesting company, Distell, releasing interim results today, reporting double-digit increases in earnings. That's despite sales volumes down in South Africa.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about Distell is that it shows that even when the consumer is constrained, one thing that we always buy is alcohol. You'll see it in retail sales as well, that does well. So the reason their sales growth is down is that consumers have opted for cheaper alcohol. So we're not seeing the big sales locally. We're not seeing big sales in their likes of whiskies and their wines, but rather opting for the cheaper options, and those are your ciders and your beers. What we did see, though, is that we saw a 12.1% increase in revenue in the Africa operations. So the likes of Nigeria and Zimbabwe, Zambia, really doing well. Their whiskies and spirits doing well. So the company has indicated that they will be investing more in premium spirits within that region. Another disappointing thing for Distell, though, was what's happening in North America and Europe. Really constrained trading environment there, and you saw that in the numbers. Not a big demand for their wine and spirits in those markets, and they have indicated that it's still going to be tough in that market, and I mean Brexit is going to weigh on that business as well.
You speak about demand. I'll point, before I let you go, to one company or product, Rooibos, coming out of South Africa. Big demand globally, yet you will tell me tonight that there might be some supply constraints. Why is that?
So this is a very interesting story, Devon. So we've seen about a 7% year-on-year increase in demand globally for rooibos, and it's grown in the Western Cape. But farmers have indicated that there's just not enough suitable land to farm the product. So this really has created an imbalance in the supply and demand chain of rooibos. Now, why this is important economically is that the industry employs about 5,000 permanent workers, and these are rural locals that live around those farms, and it generates revenue from exports of about 500 million rand a year. And I mean, this has obviously increased. These are 2017 figures. So it's a critical industry, particularly when it comes to agricultural exports in South Africa. So the idea here is to look at land expansions beyond the Western Cape, perhaps some exploration for where we can continue to grow that rooibos plant.
Well, thanks very much indeed for making sense in some of those stories. Refuah Madzena from our economics desk.